We're up to 40 so far. So folks, we're just waiting until everybody gets connected here and we'll get things underway. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dave Chisholm, and I'll be covering for Mick tonight, who is a little bit under the weather.
Being from down under, would he say over the weather?
Yeah, he's probably over the weather. There we go. Okay, I think our numbers have stabilized, Chris. So if we can just move to the next slide. Okay, just a couple of notes here. We are recording this webinar for posterity, and it will be available at ottawa.rasc.ca. Please use the Q&A box to ask questions. We don't check the chat box for questions, so please do that. Raise your hand is disabled. Okay, here's tonight's program. I'm doing the part of Mick. Stephen Norris will be our president, is guiding us through our annual general meeting. I'll be doing the Ottawa skies for December. And then Jim Thompson is doing the beach bomb astronomer. We have a break with some astro trivia. Got Bob Olson processing images without stars. Then Jim Thompson is up again if time allows for it. We'll do Newton's rings. We've got observation reports, and we've got our monthly observation challenges and any upcoming announcements. So welcome, folks, and I'm going to turn it over to our president for the annual general meeting.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I will certainly try and hustle through this, as I'm quite sure most people would rather be at the presentations. First thing we have to do is establish that we actually have a quorum. So there will be a quick poll coming up. Chris, if you could put that up. We need to find out those of you who are currently members of the RASC Ottawa Centre. So,
and Stephen, it's Chris. All I need to establish here is that we have more than 25 people. We're already well over that number. I'm not counting the no's, so I can end the poll and declare we have quorum.
Excellent.
Okay. Good stuff. So as a co-host, I can't contribute, Chris, just so you're aware.
No, the panelists can vote, but the two co-hosts cannot vote.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we're good.
So, okay, next thing is the adoption of the agenda. The full agenda is shown here. So, once again, we are moving with the Zoom poll on this one. But first, we need a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have anyone?
Oscar is done one, yes.
I'll second it, Dave.
Dave is going to second it. So if we could move to a vote on that, Chris.
It's coming. There we are. People are being very speedy. It's wonderful to see the results come in very quickly. I don't know our total numbers, but it is
50. We have 55. So yeah, we definitely have.
We already have 45 people voting unanimously to approve.
All right, excellent. So now we need to adopt the minutes of the 2021 annual general meeting. These were sent out previously with the AGM notice. So hopefully everybody has read them, because we're not going to take the time to go through it here. So I am looking for someone to put forward a motion to adopt the meetings. And we have Gordon Quinn, I would say, is providing that. And do we have a seconder?
Gordon Webster.
Okay.
Actually, Gordon Quinn, I don't believe.
Actually, I don't believe he did. I think
he's
he
asked a
popped up,
question
but
which
I was a little hasty there.
So we're looking for someone to move the motion.
Yes, we are.
I'll move, Dave.
Okay, and do we have a seconder? A second is Rob Dick.
Okay.
Okay, and a quick vote.
Okay, Chris, we have a majority.
Again, we have unanimous.
Yeah.
There's a few still coming in, but we're more than sufficiently advanced here. We can end that poll and declare it unanimous. Thank you.
Okay. And moving forward, we'll move into the president's report. Okay, so for this, you're going to have to put up with me as a little talking head in the corner, as that seems to be the way that Zoom works for these. So, seems like only yesterday, actually, that I was assuming the center presidency, and now here I am 2 years later, writing my final president's report. It's been a busy 2 years, despite and sometimes because of COVID-19. I sincerely hope that I will be the only Ottawa president to never actually preside at an in-person council or monthly meeting. It's not that either have overtly suffered as a result of going virtual. It's just a different dynamic, and one that I prefer in person when possible. That being said, there's been a significant positive feedback on aspects of the virtual monthly meetings, enough for council to make the decision to definitely hold them in a hybrid virtual in-person format when we're able to return to in-person. Speaking of which, there are indications that we will be able to return to the Canadian Aviation and Space Museum sometime in the new year. First and foremost, I have to thank all of the fabulous people whose volunteer efforts not only keep our wonderful center functioning, but make a president's job even possible. Obviously, the rest of council and the various appointed positions come to mind first. But there are also a host of others who help out in so many ways, from assisting in outreach and star parties, mowing grass, fixing stuff, or just providing sage advice when needed. To each and every one of you, thanks. I could not have been successful without you. Speaking of council, I would like to single out and give thanks to a truly dedicated volunteer who is stepping down after an astonishing 15 years on council. Carmen Rush is leaving council and will be sorely missed. The only thing that softens this a little bit is that she has assured us that being off council will give her time to bring back her astronomical history talks that are so popular. And that segues into talks at our monthly meetings. Wow, is it just me, or is everyone else impressed with the quality and variety of the talks that Mick Wilson is able to assemble every month? Each month seems to have a mix of informative talks, solid how-to tech advice, and of course, those stunning member photographs. However, don't let the caliber of what you see put you off from coming forward and contributing. I personally have found some of the most enjoyable talks and interesting images have come from younger and/or first-time presenters. It's a wonderful, non-judgmental place to jump in and hone your skills. Don't worry about making it look perfect. Either Mick or Chris Tarrant, our secretary extraordinaire and techno wizard behind the scenes at the monthly meetings, will make sure that's taken care of. Perhaps the only concern I have with our monthly meetings is that a newcomer to them may find themselves wondering, what the heck is a quokka and what does it have to do with astronomy? Our center finances are ably overseen by our treasurer, Richard Taylor. Without usurping his report, which will come next, suffice to say that we are fortunate to continue to be in good financial shape. This has enabled us to continue improving how we can serve our members without increasing the Ottawa Centre portion of membership fees. In fact, Council is already working on some initiatives to enhance our existing programs. You'll be hearing more about those in the new year. Speaking of member fees, you undoubtedly have noticed a significant increase in the RASC national portion of them. The manner in which this was rolled out and communicated, along with some other aspects of the center-national relationship, is concerning. Concerning not only to Ottawa Council, but a number of other centers as well. A strongly worded joint letter was sent to the RASC Board of Directors, and a dialogue has started with them as a result. There is a need to redefine our relationship to reflect the current needs and expectations of members. This is normal, as a society such as ours has to evolve and adapt as things change. After all, we are over 150 years old. Another aspect of our center with a long history, of course, is astronauts. Although changing in format many times over the years as technology has progressed, it continues to inform and entertain our members. Our editor, Gordon Webster, is so successful in obtaining, some would say coercing, content that it's a good thing it's emailed now. It would be a massive undertaking, not to mention cost, to print and send it out via snail mail. Sadly, once again, our annual dinner meeting had to be canceled for 2022, making it the third year in a row we've not had one. For a while, there was real hope it will be held this year, but then the September wave finally did it in. There is hope for next year, though. As well, plans are afoot for some sort of outdoor event in 2023 when the weather once again warms up. We did happily see the return of public star parties in 2022. Thanks to the effort of Andrea Garon and her team, the popular Carp Diefenbunker parties were held once again. Scheduling and weather worked to hold 4 of them this year. One of the parties had an estimated 500 plus participants, which has to be some sort of record for that location. Well done, Andrea. In addition, the monthly members-only star parties at Fred Lossing Observatories, or FLO, continue to attract a loyal following. 2022 marks another banner year for FLO. Our observatory director, Rick Scholes, and a host of volunteers have had another great year of upgrades and installations, not to mention staying ahead of the normal maintenance and upkeep. The Ralph Meyer telescope is now fully commissioned and members are being trained on its use. Paul Cloninger has the Hall Commission telescope in final testing and calibration, and the training guide for it is almost finished. The Mike Worth telescope continues to provide great views and images. The new Haven mosquito system is really appreciated during bug season. Between the center telescopes and the viewing facilities, there's something for everyone at FLO. I would be remiss in this report if I did not mention the passing of Frank Barrow. Frank was a member for over 20 years and will be missed. On a happier note, we recently learned that our longtime Center Secretary, Chris Tarrant, now has an asteroid named after him. The International Astronomy Union has named asteroid 10486 as Tarrant. This is well-deserved, as Chris is so involved in all things astronomy. His contributions include outreach, FLO, monthly meetings, unofficial center historian, center secretary, and so much more. Congratulations, Chris. The Ottawa Centre continues to take an active role in ensuring the protection of the former Dominion Observatory here in Ottawa. It is under threat from the new Ottawa General Hospital campus being constructed adjacent to it. Thanks to a dedicated group of volunteers, the Historic Sites and Monuments Board is considering additional protection at their meeting this December. We are also working with Heritage Ottawa, along with various federal and local politicians, to further minimize any impact and preserve the potential for future use of the historic observatory. In leaving, I challenge all of you to reach out to friends, neighbors, strangers, and share your enthusiasm for the night sky by encouraging them to look up. Clear skies. So, and now we'll move along to the Treasurer's report. Richard?
Okay, I have some slides to show.
Richard, I assume you're using the slides that I have, or do you need to
Yes.
share your screen?
Okay, that's this one here then. Okay, that's great. So these are some shortened versions of the financial statements for the fiscal year from October the 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Next slide, please. However, before we move on to that, the previous year's finances were audited by Paul Sadler, and his report says that the financial statements from the previous year did show the a correct financial position according to generally accepted principles. So this year's books will be audited and the report will come in the next year. Next slide. So here's our statement of income and compared with the previous year. As you see, the membership revenue was a little bit greater. The income from sales and events was quite a bit smaller because last year we had the 50th anniversary of FLO with sales of things like the sweatshirts and so on. This year it was just the calendar sales. Donations were very much higher this year. We had one extremely generous donation from a member. And the other income was also quite a lot greater because of a rebate from one of our insurance companies. They did a demutualization and we received $3,500 from the insurance company. So fairly unusually large amount of income this year. Next slide. As for expenses, our operating expenses were very similar to last year. Again, as I say, we didn't have a lot of goods sold, just the calendars, so that was lower. And so we have a fairly large net surplus this year. And depreciation is the spreading out of capital expenditures over generally 10 years for telescope equipment or 3 years for office equipment. Next slide. So as a result of this, our balance sheet shows quite a bit bigger total amount now, 98,000 versus 90,000 for the previous year. And this represents the considerable increase in value of our equipment at FLO. We now have 3 telescopes and enclosures there, an upgraded electrical system, the Haven mosquito repellent, and it's a lot better condition than it was in previous years. So I really hope members will take advantage of this great benefit we have. Next one. For budgeting purposes, there were 2 special projects. One is a hangover from the previous year. We did receive a donation specifically to subsidize memberships for members who are having financial difficulties due to COVID. We only received 1 request for such a subsidy, so there's still a considerable balance. So I just point out to members that if there is anyone who has experienced some financial difficulties due to COVID, please do ask for a subsidy. We're quite happy to help you with your membership costs. The other special project was the FLO upgrades. Some of the donations were specifically designated for that work, but the work did come out to be an additional $7,700, which has been paid from our reserves from previously. We did cash one of our GICs in order to make sure we had the funding for that, but with the money that came in, we managed to repurchase a GIC anyway. So we haven't changed the cash balance very much at all. Next slide. So on the whole, we remain quite financially viable. We are keeping our operating costs well within our capabilities to raise revenue from memberships and donations. And we have a good cash balance in the bank. So we're looking for other ideas for projects in the future to help members in other ways and to improve the services we offer. So if you have any ideas about projects that we might do to help our members, please do contact any members of council and make a proposal. We have money available and we're quite happy to do things that will promote astronomy in Ottawa. And if there's any other questions, I do have more detailed financial reports available. If anybody really wants to go through the numbers in detail, just send me an email to treasurer@rasc.ottawa.ca. Any questions right now?
I believe it is treasurer@ottawa.rasc.ca. Is that correct?
Sorry,
yes.
Thank you.
And Richard, there are no questions in the Q&A or the chat.
Okay, with that, then we need a motion.
Sorry, I went too fast.
We need a motion to approve the statements.
That's Oscar has made the motion.
I'll second. Dave.
Okay. Then I will launch the poll. Sorry, before I do that, there are 2 questions that have just popped in. The first, which actually has been answered, is were the financial statements audited?
The financial statements will be audited in this next year. The ones that were audited was the ones from the previous year. There's always this 1-year delay in getting the audit done.
And the second question, which I can take, is what's the membership level for RASC Ottawa? From memory, we're at 430 members. COVID's actually been very beneficial to us. Our membership is up, and for the last year or more, we've been in excess of 400 members. So, having answered those, we'll launch the poll to approve the financial statements. And you'll be pleased to know, Richard, that 45 people out of 45 people so far have voted to approve. No dissent, so it's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
48 people now. Okay.
The next motion is for the approval of the auditor for the next year, which will be the audit of this year's books. And once again, we will be asking Paul Sadler to do that. He's also agreed to do it for another year.
Okay, we're looking for someone to make the motion.
Can I make the motion?
Okay. It would be appropriate, Richard, that you've done it, yes, and then Brian can second it. Brian McCullough. And I will bring up the poll. And once again, we have in excess of 40 people voting, and it is unanimous. So I'll close the poll.
Thank you again.
And with that, we can move to the next segment, which is the election of councillors. So turn it back to Stephen.
Okay. The slate for this year was put together by the nominating committee that was headed up by Mike Mogadan, the current past president. That's one of his duties. And he was assisted by the committee consisting of Tim Cole and Gordon Webster. So they put together the following slate for the council. You will notice that it just neatly fills everybody. So, Chris, you can put up the acclaimed. There will be no voting for anyone in council this year. The next group of people.
Sorry, just you may want to stay here for a second, Stephen, and point out some significant changes in council this year.
Well, yes. I'm gone. That's the biggest one. I am no longer president. I will be continuing on council as past president. Our new incoming president is Dave Chisholm, who everybody is very familiar with, and I'm sure is going to do a fabulous job. Vice president sees the return of Oscar Terry as our new vice president. Oscar is no stranger to council. He has held a number of positions there, but took some time off for family reasons, and it's delightful to see him back. Chris Terran remains as our secretary, as Richard Taylor also remains as our treasurer. A little bit of a shakeup in the councillor world, as I mentioned earlier. Carmen Rush has left council after 15 years, and we welcome a newcomer, Katie Francis. Looking forward to working with Katie and getting to know her. Existing or incumbent councillors, Jerry Schwan and Jim Sophia are returning. Mick Wilson stays on as meeting chair. And our national council reps are Jonathan Falbo and Mick Wilson. As Chris pointed out, we are consistently well above 400 members now. So we have the option to have a third national council rep. So if someone is interested in taking on that role, please contact anyone on council, and we'd happy to give you some more information on that. These are the proposed appointed positions. They are only proposed under the structure we operate under. They would be officially appointed at the first meeting of the new council, which is scheduled for sometime in January. So we'd have Estella Rother continuing as our librarian. We really hope to be getting back to a physical library access in 2023, although some volumes are available. So do contact Estelle if there is something of particular interest, as we are trying to get some volumes out to people that would like them. Mick Wilson is staying on as our the webmaster. Gordon Webster, Astronautes Editor. Rick Scholes as our FLO director. A little bit of movement on light pollution. Andrea Jerome has decided to take on this role for us, or offered to take on this role for us, which we would really be looking forward to. That one's been a little dormant, and it would be nice to see it energized. Another new face stepping up for our public outreach coordinator, Acer Elgindi. He's been with us only a little while. He's been with the RSC a bit more, mainly in the Kingston Centre, actually, but he's now in Ottawa, and looking forward to working with him on outreach. Public star parties, which Andrea was handling before. Katie Francis, our new council member, has stepped up and expressed an interest in that. So again, looking forward to working with Katie on that. With regard to the hospitality, that is still open. It's been vacant for a while since Art and Ann Fraser stepped away from it. However, the need hasn't been that great because of the lack of in-person meetings. We're hoping we really do need this person soon. Ted Bean Loan Library, that position is open right now. If you have an interest in, it's more coordinating the scopes, just making sure that they're counted for and make it back. We'd certainly like to have someone dealing with that. We do have a number of scopes, and we do want to get them out to people. Art Fraser continues in his role as in charge of the membership. So again, these would be officially appointed at the January meeting. Ottawa Centre has a number of awards that are given out every year. In recognition of the effort and the volunteer aspect that so many of the people contribute. It's a shame we don't have more awards. I think there's a lot more deserving people out there, and sometimes it's very difficult to bring it down to just what we give out. We hope that they recognize the core values from the RASC and the Ottawa Centre, and that's the sharing of the knowledge and experience, collaboration and fellowship, enrichment of the community we're in through diversity, and discovery through the scientific method. This year we have a number of awards. The first one being the Paul Commission Observer of the Year Award. This award is awarded annually to the member who has contributed most to the advancement of astronomy. Hang on, there's something hidden here, Chris. Actually,
I don't see an issue.
Well, the problem is my screen where I can't read it because it's hiding under all the little people.
Stephen, you can move those by clicking on the top.
Which is what I've just done. In the group, the purpose of the award is to stimulate a keener interest in observational astronomy among the members of the group. In keeping with this purpose, the selection is based primarily on actual observations and their value to astronomy and to our group as observers. Of course, construction of a useful piece of apparatus is also a valuable contribution, but the emphasis should be on the use of such an apparatus to obtain results of scientific value. Now, a huge part of the Paul Commission Observer of the Year Award is the observing log, because Paul's favorite statement, if it's not written down, it never happened. So, what's the point of the award? Just like Hubble, James Webb Space Telescope, Spitzer, we do science and we do pretty pictures. Now, I didn't actually select this award. This one is done by this year would have been done by Mick, I believe, correct?
Yeah, the meeting chair. Yeah,
the meeting chair. So, and he uses his good judgment in the promotion of science and public engagement. Okay.
So the winner
is Andrea Guéron. Andrea, we have consistently, meeting after meeting, been amazed at the observations and your photography. So absolutely deserving. Our next award is the Rolf Meyer Award for Planetary Observing. Richard Taylor. Richard, you have been providing us with some absolutely wonderful views of the planets. Ralph would be proud. And the best presentation of the year Tony Peterson with Andrea, an active complex on the summer sun. Just the science, the photography, I don't think there's a person out there that wouldn't agree that this was just a fabulous presentation this year. And the image of the year goes to Oscar for his photograph of the Deerlick Group and Stefan's Quintet. And I believe you have that. Yes, there we are. The more you look at this image, the more you see. It is just amazing.
We'll turn things
Now
over
I'll
for
turn
a
it
moment.
over to Gordon.
Well, good evening, everyone. Some years this is an easy decision, and some years it's a struggle. And this year was a bit of a struggle. The decision came down to two articles, one well-written and researched, the other well-written and thought through. Both are the type of articles that I would like to encourage more of in astronauts. I weighed both of these for a few days, and I consulted with my assistant editor, Doug Fleming, but he wasn't much help because he agreed on both of them for much the same reasons I had. So the article that kept tempting me was from the October issue, and that was Mick Wilson's The Very Future of Canadian Astronomy and his appeal for Quokka Borealis to replace Canis Minor. I thought it was very clever, very entertaining, and very funny. There's something Australians aren't normally known for. However, I ultimately decided to go with something a little more based in reality and selected from the June issue, Bob Olson's Cassini. I found it well written, well researched, well illustrated and relevant, and it taught me what normal is. Congratulations, Bob.
We'll turn it back to Stephen for the
All
Center
right.
Awards.
Ottawa Centre gives out a service award for sustained exemplary service to the RASC Ottawa Centre. And here's where I do feel that we could be giving out lots of these, but we do try and keep it special. This year goes to Mick Wilson. Mick's just been popping up absolutely everywhere the last while. He looks after our website. He has done yeoman's service in providing an electronics document system for us. He's been digitizing a lot of our history and putting on it. He's functioning as our national council rep. He's been our meeting chair. He just, actually, I don't think the guy knows how to say no sometimes, which is probably a problem, but he's just been doing so much that we just felt this year it's a thank you to Mick. Unfortunately, he's not here to be aware of this tonight, but I'm pretty sure he'll find out soon.
And I tried so hard to hide this slide from him.
Yes, exactly. And you didn't have to. There is one more award, and that's the President's Award. It's kind of a fairly recent one. It was brought in so that the president could say a special thank you to someone or provide some recognition in areas that perhaps weren't necessarily covered by the other awards or a standard service award. It's basically given in grateful recognition of your many outstanding contributions to the Ottawa Centre. And I'm electing, as one of the last things I'm doing as president, to award it to Rick Scholes. Rick, the effort that he puts into FLO, the telescopes, the sites, to outreach, to making sure people are trained, and even just caring about others is, or at least what I've seen, is caring about others in the center. And he just never stops. And it's from the heart. And I truly believe he is absolutely worthy of more recognition than what he gets. So, Rick, congratulations. I certainly appreciate what you do, and I'm damn sure there's a lot of other people in this center that do as well.
Stephen, unfortunately, I'm reviewing the list of people attending the meeting tonight, and it doesn't appear as if Rick is here, but we'll make sure he gets this message.
Darn.
I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he's hiding in the background, but I don't see him there.
Yeah. No, could be. Anyway, before we close out the annual general meeting aspect of this, is there any other business that anyone wants to raise? And
I'm monitoring the Q&A box, and there are no questions.
There's nothing on the Q&A box. Then I believe we can wrap this up. I just need a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
All right.
Gordon Dewis is second. And I will find the poll again. This is normally a fast and easy one.
Right. And we will turn this back over to Dave, who can move us on to something lighter.
And once again, we have full voting and unanimous.